Hello, 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 guys. It is Meal Prep Monday, and we are back in the kitchen doing some soups. So the weather's supposed to be changing to something autumn, but we've had some hot days here in Cape Town. The rest of the country, it is a little bit cooler, but it's up and down. But we need some ideas for autumn, and Coach Tony did some beautiful soups last week. Went down really well. We promised you a series, so this is number 2. She did a couple. I'm just going to give you one beautiful, easy soup and a little spin on the side with a toasted cheese sandwich, which is a very important food for me. It's one with such great memories. We had, growing up, I went to school in Maritzburg, at Maritzburg College, and we had the Zalm farm, which makes the best toasted cheese sandwiches. Nice little bit of processed cheese in the middle, and used to top it with some tomato sauce and mustard. That's still our occasional kind of sort of choice meal. We'll have a toasted cheese, a little bit of tomato sauce and mustard on top. And it was epic. I remember they were R2.50. On a Thursday, we used to get a burger and put one in there, and that was what fed schoolboys. So I've always got these great memories of toasted cheese sandwiches. Today, I'm going to give you a slightly different version, no processed cheese, slightly lower fat options, good little balance of protein and carbs, and a good addition, because tomato soup and toasted cheese goes down a treat. I posted the prep that was going into this, and Gria, who's supposed to be working hard at work, obviously it was on Instagram instead, and is hoping for leftovers. So that's what meal preps are about, is making extra, so it's always in the fridge, and I know tomato soup is one of Gria's favorites. So we'll have that for dinner tonight. Why not? Check in, let me know how you guys are doing, who's all here, before we jump into it and get going with a beautiful tomato soup. Sharon, good afternoon, and hello to you too. Minnie Creek, how are you? Gabby Hirsch, hello, hello. Karen, looking forward to this. Beautiful. Ava. What sounds not so delish? My schoolboy history of the Zalm farm. Right, so a little bit of prep has happened in the background. This doesn't take half an hour to do, so I had to do a little bit of it up front. You'll see next to me here, beautiful tray of roasted tomatoes. It's a roasted tomato soup, so it's still easy to do. You just need to get a couple things in the oven and forget about it for a while, and then blitz it together. How easy is that? So I've got so there's about 700 grams of tomatoes here. Any tomatoes, I like using the little sort of baby tomatoes, roasted tomatoes, something like that. You can use the big ones, it doesn't matter. Just roast them up. That's going to bring out some sweetness. Make sure you never keep your tomatoes in the fridge either. There won't be any flavor. So keep them in the pantry, somewhere cool and dry, not in the fridge. Okay. So keep the flavor in them. I've got a whole head of garlic that I've roasted here as well. They're still in their skin, so I'll just peel that before we blitz it. And then there was one red onion or shallot or whatever you've got that I just chopped up. So that went into the oven hot at 200 degrees. It was there for about 40 minutes just to get a nice char on it, a little drizzle of olive oil, some salt and pepper. That's it, done. So those are roasted, and essentially that's going to be pretty much our soup. I'm going to add a few things to it, and you guys can see that. Then we're going to serve it with a little sweet onion cream, almost. So that's just 3 onions, whole in their skin. Flavor, sweetness, color. When we roast them in our skin, still gets that. I'm going to peel it before we blitz it, but we're going to get a little dollop of our sweet onion cream. So that was just 3 tomatoes, 3 onions in the oven as well at about 180 for 45 minutes. So those are both roasted. Roasted them a while ago. They're cool now, so you can do them in advance and then just kind of put it together, blitz it together when you've got some time. All right. I want to see if there are any questions as I was going in there. Tomato soup's your all-time fave. A lot of people love a little tomato soup. And going into autumn and winter, it's going to be good to have them. Judith, good afternoon. Yes, there are some very terrible fires going on, Judith. Thank you for your prayers. So the firefighters working absolutely hard. Students out of their res library at UCT getting burnt down. So there's lots of terrible news out of Cape Town yesterday. So we can only hope for sort of a bit more effective day today, but the wind's picked up and it's making it terribly hard. So thinking about the guys on the front line and doing a super job. Okay, so those are our veg components. For our toasted, well, let me get to it. Let's start with that and then I'll get to the toasty cheese. So what I'm going to do first is just blitz up our onions. So like I said, 3 onions. All I want to do is pull off the skin on the outside. Okay, that's it. So you'll be left with a beautiful, sweet, soft onion. They come out of their skin very easily. You might just need to cut the root side, but the skin should just fall apart. You can see beautiful skin just comes off and all that juicy goodness, oopsie, last side, goes into a blender. Okay. Second one and the third one. So this, you can also then, you've got some onion to kind of use for other things. So you can make this cream and you can use it as a little addition to adding some flavor to other dishes, which is great because going into winter, your 2 bankers should be some onion and some garlic. Really good for the immune system, keeping things going. Right, so don't be afraid of those bulbs and cloves over winter. You keep a nice, robust defense mechanism. All right, so onions are in there. I'm just going to add a teaspoon of olive oil. Okay. And what I'm going to do, just going to mute here for a second so that you guys don't get an earful of blender. As simple as that. So it went into the blender. You can see we've just got a lovely, sweet smelling onion cream. So it's onion and a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to see if it needs any salt. But no, I'm happy with that just like it is. Very, very sweet. That's the best thing about onions. Once you roast them and all that flavor, sweetness, it caramelizes. Oh, that's delicious. So lovely little onion cream there, and that's done. So that we set that aside. Once the tomatoes are ready and serving, just going to dollop it on top. Just a nice way to finish it and give you another flavor in there. Okay, so luckily I've got a second jug because now I'm going to blend the tomatoes. All right. So the reminder of what went into the tomatoes. What's going on here? So you can see that lovely sheet pan there. Everything's on there. So it's about 700 grams of tomatoes, 2 packs of mixed kind of tomatoes, and a full bulb of garlic. I'm just going to peel the skin off that. And then 1 red onion. Those were all just roasted with a little bit of salt and pepper and a drizzle of olive oil, about 40 minutes. So your garlic comes out beautiful, just like the onion. So they're going to also give it a little bit of sweetness. So it's a nice way to, get a bit of sweetness into your diet without sugar and added sugars. You can get them from your veg. You roast them, and it just gives you a completely different flavor profile, loads of flavor, loads of goodness, fiber, everything in there. Okay, so just peeling the garlic out of their skin. And if you want a little winter supplement, just do that and stick these in the fridge and apologize to your husband or wife, but your winter multivitamin is going to be in that form. You can have that with a handful of parsley, so you don't smell too bad. But that will keep all the bugs at bay. So hopefully no colds and flus. All right. Nice whack. There must be about 10 cloves of garlic here. So if you're afraid of garlic, you can tone it down a little bit, but we are not. Okay, and then all of the tomatoes will go in. Okay. And the flavors that I'm going to add here, if you want to, you can pop a little bit of chili or something in. I'm going to do a little bit of basil, because tomato and basil plays so well together. And then just adding a little bit of protein to balance it out with some ricotta cheese. So it's going to make it a little bit creamier, which is great. So you do get a source of protein. But the other beautiful thing about this is you can play around with what goes into the soup to match your goals. So you want to keep it vegetarian, don't add or vegan, you don't have to add the ricotta. And it's just a vegetable side that is lean. So there's no fat, there's no other protein or anything in it. So it can literally be your vegetable serving, which is obviously great. Or you can add the amount of ricotta that you need. If you need a little bit of extra protein, that's fine. Our cheese toasty is going to be a little bit of extra protein in here, so that's all fine. But you can play around with it. Do what you need to. If you need to keep it low fat, it's low fat. If you need to add some protein, like I'm doing here, to balance it out as a meal on its own, we're going to add some ricotta. Okay. So we've got all of that in there. I am going to add a few leaves of our friend the basil, growing nicely in the garden at the moment. Okay. So a few whacks of that. And then I'm going to add 100. So this should serve 2 people, the amount that we're doing here. So I'm going to add 100 grams of ricotta, which is going to give 2 portions of protein, so it's 1 each. We are then going to crumble a little bit of fat-free feta on at the end if you need some extra protein. Right. Okay, so that is in there. A little bit of salt and pepper, and we're going to blend that down. I'm using vegetable stock, so I'm going to add a little bit here just so that it blends nicely, and the rest of it once we start heating it on the pan or in the pot or whatever you use. Okay, so that's 500 mils. You can just add the amount that you need to get it to the consistency that you want. Okay, so let's meet you guys. Lovely. Boom. Okay, so a nice sort of light red from the ricotta. I'm just going to pop it on. Okay, so it's still quite thick in there. I'm going to add a little bit of stock. So just to your consistency you want. Take it a little bit higher because it's going to thicken a bit as we cook here. Right, and that's that. You can just kind of forget about that for a second and let it go. I do have some sun-dried tomatoes that I found in the fridge. You could always add a little bit of those at the end. I mean, as you were blending them, if you wanted to. I might still. I'll see how I go. Right, so we've got our tomato soup just warming up at the back there. Got our little creamed onion waiting for the end. And then we're just going to jump onto our toasted cheese, and then we'll be ready to go. Lovely flavor there. So, toasted cheese. One of my favorites. So, what we've got, again, you can play around with this based on your needs. So I've got some lovely sourdough. All right. So if you need 1 portion of carbohydrates of starch, just use 1. And if you need 2, you can use both of them, or just cut it in half, and you can actually do some now, some later. Wrap the second half. If you need 1, and you've cut it in half, wrap the 1 in tin foil, and you can reheat it a little bit later. So you can actually meal prep a toasty as well. Right. And I'm going to do a blend of cheeses. I do need my grater. Hopefully I can find it. Okay, I made some wise choices with the cheese that we're going to be using. So I've got 30 grams of the low-fat mozzarella. I've got 30 grams of ricotta, and I've got 30 grams of grated hard cheese or Parmesan. So between each of those, we're going to get 2 portions of protein, okay, and 2 portions of fat, because the fat from the ricotta and, well, the second one actually comes from a little secret ingredient to spread on the outside. So our toasted cheese is going to be a combination of 3 different cheeses: 30 grams of mozzarella, 30 grams of grated hard cheese, and 30 grams of our ricotta. What I'm going to do with the ricotta, just to show you, going to pop it into a bowl. Just give me a So the ricotta, I've just put a little bit of parsley in there. Going to stir it up. Then going to add 30 grams of that hard cheese. Keep stirring. Make a nice little paste. And grate the mozzarella, which is going to give us the gooiness. So combinations of flavors and slightly different sort of protein and fat contents. Thanks, Badge. Have you drawn us a picture? Okay. So that's all in there. That's our little mix. Okay. So just give it a good little mix around. And we're going to stick that onto our bread. Okay, so filling goes on. That's it. Okay, if you want to keep it to 1 portion of fat and slightly lower fat, just toast it as it is, and that's fine. You can use a little bit of spray and cook or cooking spray oil to do that. What I'm going to do is, for a portion of fat on here, is a little trick of using some reduced fat mayo. All right. You can use butter or oil for another fat, but it can go a little bit soggy. So because mayo is typically a little bit of oil and egg, you get a slightly better brown on it, which is quite good. So it's literally going to be about 5 grams. So it's also not a lot. Okay. And that's, so it's a low fat way of getting your cheese on, nice and brown. Okay. And I'm just going to bring this up here so you can see it in action. Okay, so pan on a little bit of heat, and we're just going to toast that while the tomato soup cooks. Super simple. All right. So, Caitlin says the soup sounds amazing. We've got an erupting tomato soup behind us. Ismarie, you can use smooth cottage cheese instead of ricotta, definitely. Gabby loves a little toasty. There definitely won't be any vampires coming here. You cannot be afraid of us, of garlic, if you hang around us. Can you do a soup recipe book for us? Why not? So we've got 3 from last week, 1 from today, a few more up our sleeve. There are a couple in the bank already. So why not? I love that idea. Let's do that for you. You also put mayo on the outside of your toasted salmon. Beautiful. I couldn't see the name of that. It just said Facebook user. But nice way. So if you use the reduced fat one, you're going to be using less oil, less calories than if it was just typical mayo or another oil. Okay. So I'm going to stick that bad boy on there. Give him a good press down. And just the other side gets a little dribble. Okay. And it'll be a few minutes. Just get them nice and brown. Let the cheese start to melt in the middle there. And it's going to be ready. So our tomato soup is bubbling away, so it's going to be warm and ready to serve. I'm going to finish it. You often hear me say this with a little bit of acid. I'm going to use a little bit of lemon juice, just to cut through a lot of sort of tartness going on there. I think it's just going to amplify a little bit more. So we're going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice. Okay. Lovely. It's looking good. Oh, zalm is cooking away there. Ooh, it's tasting lovely. Okay, so let's get all this stuff out of the way. And get ready. So, lovely. You get a nice crust on the outside there. Hopefully you can see that. Looking good. All right, so let's just let that finish going for a second. And such a nice little crispy outside, that little layer, and then nice little gooey cheese in the middle, but it's balanced. It's not too high fat. There's a little bit of protein, so you're getting it from both, a little bit in the soup and a little bit in the sandwich as well. So better choice, nice and balanced. Protein, fiber, fat, everything going on here, which is great. You can substitute for smooth cottage cheese, definitely, and both are a protein portion. What you'll get away with the cottage cheese is you can get a lower fat one. So ricotta is just a little bit higher fat. So if you want to keep it really lean, you can use a smooth cottage cheese, and that's fine as well. So you get a little more bang for your buck that way, calorie-wise. All right. So what I'm going to do, Kriya bought us some beautiful new soup mugs, bowls. I don't know what a half mug, half bowl. So we're going to make use of them. First time that they looking good. Okay. So the soup is ready to go. There we go. Looking good. And we're going to get a, let's see what's going here. Ooh, lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. A dollop of our little onion cream because it's going to be delicious in there. I want a prettier, where's all my basil? Prettier basil leaf. Because you eat with your eyes, so make it look good. Okay. There you go. Oh, magic, look at that. And let's get our toasty out. It's quite a wax, so you'll actually only need half of this and it'll be perfect. So for a recipe that essentially can serve two, you cut that one toasty in half, and then you've got a nice balance across the board, which is great. Can you see that? Gooey goodness. Oh, it smells amazing. So I don't really want to stick it on there, but look a bit odd. Let's do that. There we go. Let's see. There you guys. There. So we've got a little tomato soup. Beautiful little cheese toasty, and obviously the only way to eat it is you dunk it in. Oh, that's magic. That's hitting the spots. I've been particularly hungry today. When the smell of the onion and in the oven cooking all morning, it made me very hungry. So I've at least got an opportunity now to sort that out, because all the flavors and colors and everything that was going on, the smells, now being able to taste it, it's magic. So super easy, nice and balanced. We've got protein, we've got fiber, we've got a little bit of fat. You can play around with it a little bit. If you need to increase your protein, drop it, more fat, less fat, whatever. But I think perfect for a little autumn warmer, and a good way to kind of kick it off. So that is my roast tomato soup with grilled cheese toasty. There we go. Looks pretty good. All right. Get a little dollop of that onion cream as well. It's fantastic. Minnie going to be making it this week. Beautiful. Karen says yummy yum. Judith, you love a toasted cheese. Brilliant. Yeah, Jono is at Constantia Village if anyone wants to donate. Thanks for the reminder, Judith. Charlene looks delicious. Renata looks good. Candace, it is. Yeah, it's really nice. The mix of cheeses in there, you can use less. So one thing I really like about hard cheese, you use a lot less, and you get a little bit more protein in hard cheese because it's dehydrated, but lots more flavor. So you can get away with using less to get all that cheesiness in it. So you get less calories, but you get all the flavor out of it. So that carries through quite nicely. And then you've got the stringiness of the mozzarella and the creaminess of the ricotta, and it all comes together in a beautiful little filling. All right. Yum, yum. You've also got some basil in your garden. Brilliant. Gabby, it does taste delish. You're going to make this after your 21 days. Candace giving the details there. So John is at Elfin Spa from Hoppus 1 to Hoppus 2. You got anything for the firefighters? Fluids, energy snacks, other sorts of things that they're going to be needing. All right. Lovely, guys. Hopefully you're going to give that a crack. I'll post the recipe as soon as I've made it look pretty for you guys. And love the idea of the soup recipe book. So let's put that together. I'll get cracking with Coach Tony and all of her beautiful dishes and ideas, and we'll go from there. So I hope you found it useful, some inspiration. Make a big batch of it. You can freeze it. Like I said, if you don't use the full toasty, wrap it in some tin foil. You can freeze it as well, or just have it tomorrow. You can just reheat it quickly on the pan. Super simple. The soup, just portion it out if you need to, ready to go. And it's magic. You can just go from there. You can also just freeze the roasted bits in portions and bang it into the blender when you need to, with a little bit of liquid, and then pop it on the stove. And at least there are ways of kind of making a big batch go a lot further. So if you find a whole bunch of tomatoes, you know what to do with them now. All right. Guys, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Get the week off to a good start. Join us on Wednesday. Coach Tony's doing low-carb sushi. Fabulous. For Jeff Cook on Wednesday. And I will see you guys all soon. Till next time. Cheers for now.